Okay, welcome. I have a question from one of your classmates about absolute value in lesson 5, specifically number 4 and number 5 in lesson 5. So, first, let me give you some uh, background information about absolute value. Okay, so when we're talking about absolute value, we're talking about how far is a number away from zero. So when we were saying the absolute value of 7 equals 7, that's because 7 is 7 jumps away from 0. The absolute value of negative 7 is also 7 because negative 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jumps away from 0. So when we are talking about absolute value inequalities, so for example, this would be an example like number 5 in lesson 5. Pardon me, let's number 4 in lesson 5. Okay, so what this is saying where would the absolute value of this is inside the bars be less than 1? Where would the absolute value of what's inside the bars be less than 1? Okay. This is a number line, of course. The absolute value of these numbers, so this is my absolute value number line. Absolute value is 0, 0, of 1 is 1, of 2 is 2, and so forth. Now, the absolute value of negative 1 is 1, absolute value of negative 2 is 2, absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So this area is where the absolute value would be equal to 1 or less than 1. And this area is 1 and negative 1. So that means that this stuff in here could equal to 1 or it could equal to negative 1. All right, that's the background information. What I tell my students or ask them to do when you're talking about absolute value inequalities with a less than symbol, you can put the information that's in the bars between what you have over here and the negative. That's one way to set it up. Or another way to set it up, you can say, take away the bars, and because it's a less than, it's going to be and. Flip the sign and change this. Flip the sign and make the number negative. Now, if you are solving it with the and right here, both of these are the same. Both of these equations here are the same. It's just a different way of writing. This is called a three-part inequality. This is your compound inequality with an and statement. Okay, so we go ahead and solve this. Now remember with inequalities, you got to, I said P, you got to switch the sign when you divide by or multiply by a negative. So, all right, over here, let's solve this one. And remember, you're dividing by a negative, so you're going to flip that sign. Now, with the and, this is saying x can be greater than 3/4. It can be greater than 3/4, but also it has to be less than 5/4. See, well, and we need a value that will make both inequalities true. And what numbers will make both inequalities true? Numbers that are greater than 3/4 but less than 5/4. Now, with one like number 5, it's a absolute value with a greater than. Okay, going back to the number line. And looking at the absolute values of these numbers on this number line, and this is where you have to think about what I'm saying. So we want this to be numbers that are greater than 16. Well, numbers greater than 16 over here and over here. Now, where is that on the real number line? That means numbers greater than 16, which makes sense. But also that means that they are numbers that are less than negative 16, because the absolute value of negative 16 is 16. So this stuff inside the bracket, inside the bars could be equal to negative 16. The stuff inside this could equal to negative 16. So if the stuff inside equals to negative 16, absolute value of negative 16 is 16, and that's true. 16 is equal to 16. All right, but what I tell students to do, with the greater than, you're going to have, so you're going to have two inequalities. You're going to have two inequalities. So to get the first one, just take away the bars. Now, since you're dealing with a greater than, it's going to be or. You take away the bars, change the sign, and make the number negative. So let's solve these. Remember, you're divided by a negative, so you need to flip that sign. And I'm running out of minutes, so let's see. I'll do this quickly. This will be negative 1/2, or over here, negative 20. Flip the sign. So 5, if I haven't made a mistake, because I'm running out of time. But I want to say with the or,